Hello, and welcome to the Alliance for Hope International Affiliated Centers webinar series. My name is Rayanne Passantino, and I am the Assistant Director of Family Justice Center Programs for the Alliance. I am excited to host this series that will showcase each of our affiliated centers by giving them an opportunity to share information about their sites and the work they are doing in their community. For more information about becoming an affiliated center, please visit our website at www.allianceforhope.com. Now, I have the great pleasure of introducing Deb Greenwood, the Executive Director of the Greater Bridgeport Community Center for Family Justice. Deb, will you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Welcome, everyone. I have the privilege of being the CEO and President of the Center for Family Justice, located here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Located in the Northeast, in the largest city in our state, and we are the only justice center actually in Connecticut at this moment. So what I'd like to do is walk you through who we are, where we've come from, and where we eventually hope to go. So we'll start right away with, again, our location and who we serve. We serve the Greater Bridgeport region, which, again, Bridgeport is the largest city in Connecticut, also the poorest. In addition, we have some rural and suburban communities, town of Easton, Fairfield, Monroe, Stratford, and Trumbull. Just a small little bit of history about who we are. As you know, in the colonial days, in the Northeast, and especially in Connecticut and New England, we have here in Bridgeport the home of P.T. Barnum. And unfortunately, as we know, the circuses have stopped in the United States, but P.T. Barnum and the Barnum Festival here in Bridgeport is one of the largest events that we celebrate due to Phineas T. Barnum's founding home of Bridgeport. Fairfield is the home of several universities, Sacred Heart University, Fairfield University, and one of their campuses at one of our universities is the former home to GE World Corporate Headquarters, who's recently moved to Massachusetts. We also have Bigelow Tea Headquarters, who've been very generous to the foundation and formation of Connecticut's first Family Justice Center. In Trumbull, another suburban town, Jonathan Trumbull was also one of our Connecticut governors during the Revolutionary War and valued advisor to George Washington. So you can see where we have some very old history here in Connecticut. Stratford is the home to Sikorsky, which is one of the largest Department of Defense contractors specializing in military helicopters. Monroe is considered the old term of the 60s, a bedroom community, and also the town of Monroe opened their hearts and also school to Sandy Hook Elementary community when tragedy struck us several years ago, offering students space in a school which is very close proximity to Newtown and Sandy Hook. Easton is our most rural town, very small, high-end homes, and absolutely beautiful farmland as well as suburbia. What we provide here at the center is short-term crisis counseling, safety planning, criminal civil court advocacy. We have a 15-bed safe house. We have a 3-apartment transitional house. We offer civil legal services. We have a beautiful wellness center thanks to Bigelow Tea. We have child advocacy services, including forensic interviews. So we are a member of the National Children's Alliance, and one of our larger initiatives, which is education training at our universities, as well as elementary and middle schools, as well as corporate America. Our tagline here at the center is Hope Starts Here. We were founded in 1895 as a YWCA. In 1998, became the Center for Women and Families, focusing on domestic violence, sexual violence, and child abuse services. When we did change our name and decided that this was a great initiative to have services under one roof, we not only changed our logos and changing the name of the agency, we have our tagline, which is Hope Starts Here. And in front of you, you see our new logos, and in the upper right corner, we have an individual holding a heart that we felt really was very complimentary to the name, the Center for Family Justice. In 2017, they served 10,082 individuals. And as you can see, 4,400 plus received direct service counseling, whether it was domestic violence or sexual violence. We served well over 5,000 in the schools on education and prevention. Going back to our history, again, being founded in 1895 as a YWCA, their history is very rich here. We have a very diverse population of volunteers and stakeholders. And in 1998, again, we disaffiliated from the YWCA and took a very strong focus as initiatives in our part of the state and our part of Bridgeport started to focus on domestic and sexual violence as well as serving children under 18 years old. In 2013, our name change became the Center for Family Justice. And this transition took a few years of planning. We needed to incorporate the stakeholders, the first selectmen, the leadership in the greater Bridgeport area, law enforcement, and other non-for-profits as well to look at why we needed their support in addition to making sure our board of directors and the staff were all going to be engaged in making this transformation into a family justice center. So again, you see in front of you Connecticut's first family justice center dedicated to ending domestic violence, sexual violence, and child abuse. That is the mission of the center. We are very unique. Again, we're proud to say that we are the first family justice center in our state, joining the many in the United States and other countries. We are hoping, as we are supporting some other areas of Connecticut that are extremely interested in how they can transform their agencies into an additional family justice center. We are a small state, but we realize that best practices looks exactly like what a family justice center should be, providing everything in one place for victims of abuse. In 2017, we also became the first justice legal network in the state. That includes the launch of an Incubator Program and utilizing the Alliance for Hope and using all of the great resources that the National Alliance does have has helped us move a lot of these programs forward. Actually, today we had our Chief Justice come and visit the legal incubator program as well as the entire Justice Center, and she was extremely impressed. And I really believe that now we're getting a lot more support, slow as it goes, but a lot more support in our state with the judicial system. And in addition to another first, this summer we were extremely excited to be able to be a pilot program and launch the first Camp Hope here in Connecticut. And we partnered with the YMCA, and we also, of course, collaborated with Camp Hope America, who trained our staff well, utilizing their curricula. And we had about 30 kids go to sleepaway camp at the YMCA location, which borders Massachusetts, New York, and Connecticut. And we also had about a dozen children go to day camp, some that were not as comfortable going to sleepaway camp this first year. We think we are starting to convince them that next year we'd like them to try the 1 week sleepaway camp. And that's an initiative we are committed in our next 3-year strategic plan, especially next summer, to double the amount of kids we send to Camp Hope. Being accredited, we are a member of the National Children's Alliance, the NCA, and very important program where, again, program is a small version of having everything under one roof, where a child under 18 years old that is disclosed either being sexually assaulted or living in a severe domestic violence household comes in for a forensic interview, working with the youth officer of the town that also works with our incredibly talented staff and many other partners. So we've been doing that for 15 years, and that program averages anywhere from 150 to 200 children under 18 on an annual basis. Our wellness studio is something we're extremely proud of. Again, thanks to Bigelow Tea, we have an area in our Justice Center where not only our clients, but also staff and partners can come and meditate, take yoga classes, take something like boot camp or Zumba. It's a very strong partnership that we do have with 9 other non-for-profits, one of the largest being law enforcement. And in front of you, you see our 6 towns, and all 6 police chiefs have signed on and are working and manning an area in our Justice Center from each one of these towns. Another partner that we have here is the Triangle Community Center, and that is a strong focus that we also have at the Justice Center, working with the LGBTQ community. They have support groups that meet here for teenagers. We also have an adult support group for members of the LGBTQ. In addition to that, the state of Connecticut State Attorney's Office has prosecutors that are on board, and they have been coming on a weekly basis. In addition to that, we know that as we're starting to document more and more of trafficking, sex trafficking, and human trafficking, we had been the agency that houses victims of trafficking. So what the counseling does is we work with the International Institute to make sure that the outcome for victims of trafficking, depending on whatever age they are when they've identified, that we're working in a collaborative effort to make sure that they can go through the healing process, support, and move on with their life. A lot of our marketing materials is something that we did not anticipate to go through as much as we have been. We knew that learning from other justice centers across the country that we would probably double, if not triple, the amount of individuals we would be seeing. And that all does come true without trying to increase the amount of advocates that we currently have. But one of the issues we did need to focus on was the enhancement of marketing and public relations so people could continue to find our services. So we did need to create a brochure that was specific to our Family Justice Center. Shoe cards are things that all our police departments and patrol carry in the back of their cruisers. So when they go to a house for a 911 DV, they can distribute that to the victim. And at the bottom of the shoe card, not only listing our services, our numbers to our hotline, and the police officers are actually connecting at the 911 call the victim to our hotlines. So we are seeing not only more individuals finding their way to the Justice Center, but we also realize that it is reducing the vulnerability of that situation and hoping that we can continue to encourage victims of abuse to come to our center. And many of the other pieces that you see in enhancements of newsletters, marketing videos on our Justice Center, as well as this year, actually in 2 weeks, our signature luncheon that we have called Speaking of Women will be launching our new Camp Hope video. Educational campaigns that's very important to us on prevention. It is important to know that Verizon Foundation, as we all understand throughout the country, is very committed to the topic of domestic violence. And with that, we have our Verizon Empowerment Room. So a very significant piece after the crisis has passed, and the next step for a victim of domestic or sexual violence is them being able to not only be educated, but to find other avenues of how they can become self-sufficient. So this training room and training institute that we've developed as part of our Justice Center incorporates quite a bit. And as you see in front of you, where we can bring in additional fees is by certifying people in our community, educators in the high schools, educators in universities, helping educate youth about the dynamics of domestic and sexual violence, professionals in the field that are also taking classes. And we charge small fees, and that does help sustain additional space that we've converted into the Justice Center. So there's nothing bad about bringing revenue into your Justice Center. We never feel guilty about that because we realize how strong and educated our staff are. And so that's a big commitment that we did make when we cut the ribbon and opened the doors. Our men's initiative, which is led by our Fairfield Police Chief, is called the White Ribbon Campaign. We're using an international name where men that sit around the table, all of our chiefs do, as well as individuals from our communities, made up of all men that do not condone violence against women or girls. They do one major event called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes every spring. And this past year, we had over 1,200 participants. And of course, vigils that are held in October for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the Walk a Mile is done in April during Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And the numbers continue to grow because we do a vigil in every town we serve. It engages your community. They become more involved, whether it's volunteer or understanding where people can go if they need free and confidential services. And the Walk a Mile really does bring in many, many college and high school students. So a very important part on the educational component. I had already mentioned the self-sufficiency room that Verizon supported. And as we help individuals learn, whether it's resume writing, interviewing skills, being able to promote themselves, understanding where their strengths might be. Victims may not have worked in years because they were either stay at home, taking care of a family, or individuals that just need a new change. So part of our partnerships are working with the nonprofits in the greater Bridgeport area that can help provide those services in this room. And that's something that has continuously started to attract more and more victims after the trauma. And I think that's an important piece we need to talk about, that you can have a lot of different programs, and we've learned that to try and offer everything at the same time does not always work. You need to get the victim through the trauma, through the crises, and then they can start to participate in the empowerment room, taking more with wellness as far as yoga and meditation and some of the other offerings, so that they understand self-care and self-love again. I mentioned Camp Hope, and this program really has been so inspirational to our agency, not just the staff, but our board and volunteers, corporations that were not as engaged as they might have been before. But when you start to talk about breaking the cycle and an intergenerational problem, this program focused on youth and kids and giving them their life back has really been extremely, extremely important to all of us. An area that we will continue to grow year after year in our new strategic plan. And here are just a few sayings that kids came back with. We had our reunion a few weeks ago after everyone came back from camp with their parents. And you can see in front of you some of the quotes that kids said. They felt less stressed, more focused on fun activities. I can learn to feel normal. What is normal to them? I'm different than everyone around me. So kids can learn that hitting is wrong. I get to talk about what I've done, what I've gone through. I've never been to camp before. Being located in an inner city, also some of the children were from the suburbs as well, but they did not have that opportunity to experience and talk freely among kids who are going through the exact same thing they are. Instead, they would probably keep that down deep and stifle their feelings. Where at Camp Hope, they can feel like themselves. They can say what they feel in a safe environment with trained counselors. And I think the last statement here really says it all. I get bullied every day for being myself, and Camp Hope is for people like me. And these are children, again, under the age of 17 years old. You'll see some wonderful pictures of Camp High Rock, where they're sitting around their campfire, sharing hope stories. Sasha Collins, who is our Camp Hope coordinator, also serves as our child advocate here. So we did not need to create a new position. We used her expertise as the child advocate, and the kids know Sasha from coming here during support services. So the trust factor was very important to us to make sure we had the right person that was going to be in charge of Camp Hope. And we could not be happier with the choice that we made, and she just knocked it out of the park. That being said, you have in front of you many of the kids that never knew what a s'more was. They weren't roasting marshmallows, never got to experience a lake or wooded areas and be there and talking freely among kids. Day one was difficult because a lot of these children did not know one another. But by day two, they were starting to feel that they could make friends, they could feel accepted, feel normal. And the statement up above, you've got a young person saying, I have 12 brothers and sisters, so I won't have to babysit. I can actually have time to myself and roast marshmallows. Once again, these are children that are coming from homes that they just don't have their childhood. So they're starting to get that back, to quote Mike Burke and Casey Gwynn. As we see a changing community in the greater Bridgeport area, we were warned and we were told, once you open, you will see an increase in clients, because yes, publicity and awareness is important, but at the end of the day, that's exactly what we want to accomplish. We want people to understand what a Family Justice Center is and what it does. We want to have that upsurge in organizations wanting to partner with us. And for those of you who are starting your first Family Justice Center, know that you will not have to reach out to others. You will be inundated with people that want to jump on board and become involved. It will take time to do that. It took us almost 18 months to 2 years just on consistently having partner meetings, inviting organizations in. You, as a Family Justice Center, will know as you evaluate the services in your community what types of partners you do want. And going back to starting small, it gets big quickly, so you want to control your growth if that's possible, because here in Connecticut, our state funding has really shrank. Every year we've been losing 2 to 3%. This year, I've been here 10 years, it has really gone in a very difficult direction where we had a 10% cut with another 10% coming in October. So that we really had to up our game in private foundations and donors. A very important factor for making sure you have a director of development, you have a team and a board that is a fundraising board, not an operational board. In addition to that, as the executive director, knowing and understanding that having a strong finance department is important to look at your financials consistently, because as you might be losing funding, you need to look at where you have to shrink in some areas. But getting in front of individual donors and private foundations is really extremely important to sustain your Family Justice Center. So we are continually out there raising visibility and making sure that the credibility of our agency is at 100% if that's possible. And I think we've done a good job here in the greater Bridgeport area by doing that. Our goals are right in front of you, engaging partners in all 6 of our communities. And that's a key piece, to make sure that you're not overly focused on one area. Now, 69% of our clients do come from the city of Bridgeport, again, where we're located, but it's important to keep our other 5 communities just as engaged. So working with leadership, municipalities, your first selectmen, your mayors, the police chiefs are critically important to get their buy-in. I would highly recommend to many that if you don't get all those T's crossed and I's dotted, you're not ready to really move forward with the ribbon cutting. So it takes time, but do it right, even if it takes longer. So we have developed a template for other domestic violence and sexual assault agencies here in Connecticut, what core and specialized services that we do have here under one roof. We are looking to the future to say, what else should we be doing? That's where Camp Hope came in. Our focus on the youngest victims is where we're seeing so many children that are coming along with our clients. So having different activities throughout the year, not just in the summer, part of Camp Hope is also we'll be seeing these children in the next few weeks now that school started, in addition to holiday time, having support services for these kids ongoing, and before you know it, it'll be time to start Camp Hope again and have them grow with us so they can also be part of our programs as well. The introduction of wellness, improving and enhancing cardiovascular exercise, yoga, and meditation helps develop positive role models in lives of children, where we know cuts in physical education, the arts, and music is something that many large cities across the United States are seeing. So if we have opportunities, and we have volunteers that are supporting children with trauma, we have been successful in doing that, making sure we're bringing in people that understand the culture of domestic violence and sexual violence, understanding some of the do's and don'ts. So our job is to prepare them before they actually work with clients, and they must be certified to do that, taking at least courses with our staff so they understand how to work with the victim of trauma, especially kids. So we're looking to the future, and some of the issues that we see right now is very focused on how to expand more opportunities here in Bridgeport for kids under the age of 18. As I mentioned, the YMCA is one of our strong partners, and we are located directly across the street from 1Y, but in our suburban towns, in all but one town, there is a Y. So that children that don't have the funds and affordability to learn how to swim, enhance their healthy lifestyles, participate in a sport. So working in conjunction with them, they also being a nonprofit, are helping support some of our children so that there is no cost to anyone that comes to the Center for Family Justice, especially these children. So you see that some of our activities are being expanded in the arts and humanities. We've had music therapy here, we've had art therapy, many other kids' activities, and most importantly, one of the things that our Camp Hope this year that was already part of Camp High Rock, which is the location of our resident camp, was literacy. Every day the children had to read for so many minutes. So what we will be doing ongoing, besides what the schools do, is to improve and enhance literacy. And we know that we need to focus on working with our city on the dropout rates, especially here in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which the dropout rate is extremely high. Over almost 40% of the kids in Bridgeport, Connecticut do not graduate from high school. So we're working with our superintendent and school officials to make sure that that's also part of our focus. And of course, teens on teen dating violence and working with sexual assaults as they prepare to go to college or as middle schoolers are entering high school, having age-appropriate curriculum is also important. Another important part of our cities and towns is helping teenagers find job skill training, whether they become counselors or they're working at the local CVS. Whatever it is that we can help them so they can also become employed. Our best practice in the field of victim advocacy and the adverse child experience, as we did the ACE studies, is to look at what those figures meant and how we will manage those. Our HOPE scales did change dramatically from day 1 at Camp HOPE to the conclusion of day 6. So we are very happy to see that there was enhancement there. I can only imagine as these children continue to grow with us that they will enhance into a survivor and be able to mentor other kids. So in front of you, you see some of the things that we've been doing with the National Alliance. And we know that best practices is exactly what Family Justice Centers do in the United States. We know that there's evidence-based with Camp HOPE. We know that working with the National Alliance technical assistance with our partners is very, very important. They have created the best models, and we all do our own justice centers to fit what our community is. But knowing that we have such great support from the Alliance for Hope is important to all of us, so we follow their lead. The advocacy on a national level, as we know, VAWA is up for reauthorization again in February. It's important that we are staying in touch with the office in Washington, D.C., with the Alliance for Hope and the Department of Justice, so we are all speaking the same language. We are all advocating for the continuation of VAWA, that we're looking for more support, and we are all crossing the finish line together. Again, this evidence-based model with proven outcomes for survivors of abuse speaks for itself. There will be ups and downs. When we cut the ribbon, we had standing room only. It was sleeting, snowing, and we could not fit another human being into our Justice Center, which is 21,000 square feet. And 5,000 of it is occupied by a daycare center that we do not operate. They rent from us. At some point in time, we are looking at a potential of a possible therapeutic daycare center, possibly a clinical incubator program, or expanding our legal department and having staff attorneys. So we have 5,000 square feet left in our building that we could transform. But financial is important to sustain it. If you grow too fast, we have to look at where those dollars are going to come from. And if you don't have a strong fundraising board or a strong development department, realizing that you might have to put some things on a back burner, but you need to keep your staff involved and engaged and keep asking the direct service people and saying, what is it we can do to help you help get that number down as a caseload of 60 to 65 clients per advocate? And what are those missing links? We've got the legal services, we have the child piece, we've got the building, we have the under one roof. What are the other things we still need to do? And of course, the word that I've heard Gail Strack and Casey Gwynn say over and over again in training is we have to have a we philosophy. No executive director, no board chair, no one person can run a justice center. You need to involve all the stakeholders, everyone in your staff, all your volunteers, all your community outreach individuals, and that's when you celebrate your success. And as I mentioned before, the technical assistance from the Alliance of Hope has been something that has really been helpful to us. We go on their website, we look at the information that's there, and we might scroll through and say, maybe this is something we can look into. So the collaborations in your community, the coalitions of stakeholders, and the board of directors all need to be on the same page. It sounds too easy, doesn't it? Well, it's not as easy as it sounds. I've reminded anyone in Connecticut that's looking at a justice center, it took us 5 years. The reason why we went the way we did is because we wanted that engagement of all the leadership and individuals. Most importantly, ask your clients, what is it we did not do for you? What is it that we need to do from you? And the number one answer for us was providing legal services. And that's why that individual, from the old question of why did she go back, or why did she go through the system 7 to 10 times, if she did or he did not have legal representation. So our incubator program has 5 attorneys at this moment, and we're very excited about the work that's happening and the services they're providing. this is how you find us. Here's our website, our Facebook page, our Twitter account. And now we're going to show you what we look like from the inside out. So as you walk through the front door, that's our main office door. We did change windows and did some things that were what might be looked at as kind of boring. You come through our lobby. Our lobby was a complete overhaul. We had to run a capital campaign to raise a little under $5 million over 5 years. We did get some state support. We changed the complete concept that made it feel welcoming and friendly. And this is our business lobby. So you go to the receptionist, and every door in our 3-story building is provided with safety and security swipes to get in. So if someone should accidentally come in, they couldn't get any further than the lobby. So with that, you now go into our private confidential waiting room. There are no windows there, but no one can see from the outside who is there. And of course, we have literature, information. This is how we look clean. We have donations there for clients to be able to help themselves to things, whether it's blankets or clothing. Within 10 minutes, an advocate will take them down to one of our counseling rooms. The room you're looking at right now is our family counseling room. If a child does not want to go upstairs to our children's room, then they can go into that room as well. But we have 3 counseling rooms with another professional office. This hallway takes you all the way down and back to the main lobby. There's our elevator. We are handicap accessible in all areas. We were in a good place as we were assessing our disabilities, but what happens now is this door will take you downstairs. We were renting to another nonprofit, and we took back our space. We gave them a year to find a new location, and now you go through our doors into our newest area, which has our legal services as well as some of our partner offices. So what you're looking at right now is another waiting area. And these doors have 5 attorneys in them, as well as law enforcement, prosecutors from our criminal court. In addition to that, there is a room that the police officers can use for videotaping if they need to. We have a small conference room for partners to meet in. And there is our PhD Resistance. This is our wellness studio. It's a large space where even if you wanted to work out by yourself, and everyone has a different modality of exercise and wellness, but there could be, again, a Zumba class, meditation, yoga. The lights have dimmer switches on them. There's a changing room. Behind the double doors, you also have small pieces of equipment from exercise bands to exercise balls. You have yoga blocks, yoga blankets. Types of wellness that we do see most popular are the pieces like meditation. We have individuals that come in, whether they're working with one person or they're working in a group class, and the yoga is offered almost every day of the week. And again, this is all free to any of our clients, our staff, and our partners. So as you go through our tour, now you can get up onto the elevator or take our stairwell up to our direct service floor. And this is where most of the staff are. And again, the doors all have swipes. We did a complete renovation of all of our bathrooms and our lighting. There are a lot of grants in your states that can help save money on your occupancy, so that you might be saving, right now we're saving about $6,000 to $8,000 a year on that. So investigate what your state has to offer you. So as you come off the elevator, you're now going down to administration is here, our finance office and development, our director of IT, my own office is all down here, our director of legal services. We have a lot of our offices there, as well as in the small cube where we have our coordinator of public relations and marketing. So with that, now you can go into our very large training institute room, and in front of you is the children's room. And this is where kids can be watched and taken care of while the client is having a support group meeting. So we're watching their children. We are providing hopefully healthy snacks, and sometimes could be a very simple meal. But our goal is to make sure the kids are in a wonderful area. And that room was redone by one of our university students that are in interior design. What you see in front of you is the Training Institute boardroom, support group room, multi-purpose room. We expanded this area so that we could take more individuals, which we, again, heard we were going to get, and it actually did happen. More clients can fit in the room for support services, for training and certification. You can also charge for these courses if they're people from the outside, universities. We work on campus, but this is a great way to generate revenue. It also serves, of course, as our board of directors room, our staff meeting room. So we realized this was an area we wanted to investigate, and we did, and we expanded that. Now we're going to go down the hall, and we are going to go into the direct service area. And these are where our advocates sit. Everything you see in front of you is done purposely to have an open area so that the advocates can talk to one another and talk about, I have this situation, what do you think? So there's a lot of interaction with the staff here. It also houses our certified interns from universities and colleges. It's a great way when you're looking at how to increase your staff without anything more than them receiving wonderful credits. We do not have paid interns. We have had an abundance of responses since we opened the Justice Center for interns from universities to participate here. They do have a kitchen off the direct service area as well, so we try to make it as comfortable as possible. On the lower level that we were on before, there's a second kitchen down there for our partners. And now as we enter the empowerment room, this is the Verizon room that you saw a small glimpse of before. It comes with 16 computer stations, all the technology that's needed to put on presentations. If we are doing training, we can use this for small groups, but this is the empowerment room, is individuals can also utilize this space for resume writing, learning how to use the computer, and finding jobs. And again, we can oversee that, but we use our other nonprofits to facilitate. And of course, the colors are all the Verizon colors. We wanted to make it cheery and also to make sure that everything is new and appreciated. So at this moment now, you're looking at where a lot happens. This is the development office. We have grant writers, one full-time and one part-time individual, a full-time director of development who's assisted with a part-time individual. And once again, they are all in one area. So as we talk about grants, foundations, donors, events, many events, you're bringing, I call them friend raisers. You're bringing awareness and attention to your Family Justice Center, and you're making a little bit of money as well. There's a picture of our Walk a Mile in her shoes with a lot of our chiefs that participate, wearing wonderful red high heels, walking 1 mile to the town of Fairfield, led by one of our chiefs. So this gives you a glimpse of what we did to renovate our 21,000 square foot building. As you go back down the stairs or utilize an elevator, of course, it brings you through the business lobby and right back out into our parking lot. That was the second piece of our renovation. After we opened, we felt we needed to secure it a bit more. Our outside did not look as nice as we wanted, so we did get some funding from our state to enhance our fencing and our parking area. And many garden clubs like to also put flowers and make it look beautiful so that it's welcoming when you come through. We're very excited to be able to have shared our journey with you in a short period of time. We're more than happy to talk to any one of you that's out there listening and call anytime. And I'm more than happy to try to give you any other information I may not have covered in this webinar. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Your team did an amazing job with this presentation, and I love the virtual tour, especially since I was able to actually see your center in person a few months ago. It's really beautiful. The colors are perfect, and I just was in love with that wellness room. It was amazing.
Thank you, Raymond. I know we do love it.
One question that I'm always curious about is that when you reflect on all of the things that your center has accomplished, what is the one thing in like 30 seconds that you can share that you're the most proud of?
I would say that we were able to come together and actually open this Justice Center in a city, and this is not a negative on Bridgeport, but being the poorest city in the state many people said there's no way you're going to be able to find the funds to do this. So if I had to pick one, of course, being that Camp Hope, the legal incubator piece, This seemed to happen in such a trigger of excitement and many other things that have continued to happen because we're a justice center now, that I don't believe we would have had that opportunity before. I know we wouldn't have, but I think it gave us that energy to say we came together as a board, a staff, and a community to say, oh yes, we can. And I will say that until the day I walk out of here retired, which I hope isn't for a few more years yet, because we have a lot more to do. But I would say that's the proudest moment, that being such a poor city, our city is known for many homicides and murders and being dangerous and violent, but we've got a lot of great spirit. And if you can lead that and project that to your community, you will win every time. And just stay positive and just keep saying we can get this done, because there's many times you want to give it up and quit, but having the right staff and the right board to support that methodology is definitely the proudest moment that I can speak just for myself, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone else that was involved.
That's fabulous. Congratulations. Again, thank you so much, Deb, for being part of this webinar series. I'm sure a lot of centers who are in the different processes of opening will get a lot out of this. You have done a lot for your community so far, and I know the Alliance, we're really excited to see what your future holds. So thank you all again. This is Rayanne Passantino with Alliance for Hope, thanking you all for participating and watching this webinar series, and there will be other postings from other centers coming soon. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.